Hello, and welcome to NBA Sideline, the show's 8th episode where the most up-to-date NBA action is talked about. I'm the host, Matthew Guanga, and these are the analysts AJ Valencia and Lorenzo Black. On tonight's episode, we'll discuss everything from the numerous trades that occurred in the last week to how impactful it was for the Brooklyn Nets to sign Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. But first, we'll start off with what it means for the Los Angeles Lakers to add Andre Drummond into the starting lineup. Guys, the Lakers just recently signed Andre Drummond to play at center. Coach Frank Vogel announced that the Lakers hope to keep Drummond long-term as Marc Gasol goes on the bench. How will Drummond impact the Lakers roster?
I think Andre Drummond is a complete rebounding monster machine, and he is a way better upgrade than Marc Gasol is. Marc Gasol has been way past his prime. He used to be a multiple-time All-Star and Defensive Player of the Year, but that was a long time ago, years ago. So now they've got a way worse version of Gasol as a starting center, and that's quite unacceptable. So now they got Andre Drummond. He is like I said, he's an upgraded version. Okay, that guy can get 20 rebounds a night. He doesn't have to score. He can just grab the rebounds once they miss the shots, and that's very useful, especially when a lot of LeBron and Anthony Davis teammates miss a lot of open looks, and Drummond can just get all the rebounds, the misses.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Drummond reminds me of a Ben Wallace. He's an absolute beast in the paint, and he doesn't mind just focusing on rebounding. And with the Lakers having the three-point shot, this should be very helpful, with especially when Caldwell Pope is jacking up corner threes. Yeah. There should be a lot of rebounding there by Drummond.
Caldwell Pope, Caruso, and Kuzma, they tend to have a lot of inconsistent games often. So yeah, I mean, at least we agree on that Andre Drummond is a major upgrade. That's how his impact will be on the Lakers roster.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think Gasol was really getting the job done.
Yeah, he's old. Like I said, he's seen better days.
Yeah.
Speaking of better days, let's talk about the next topic.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Nets have signed Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge before the deadline. What do these additions to the Nets as we approach the playoffs?
Well, it makes them more stacked,
Yeah.
Adding more skill and ability.
It makes them more stacked, and the fact that it also makes them one of the most hated teams in the league. More so because the fact that Aldridge and Griffin were bought out by the team, and they instead chose to sign with an already stacked team. Not to mention they were all-stars only 2 years ago. Just because their numbers regressed this season doesn't mean that they're completely washed up. They may just be trying to play terrible just so they can get released from their contract, and they'll try to play better once they sign with a better team. And now this is Big Six. They have a Big Six. I don't even want to talk about their Big Six, and that's just terrible. Just like Stephen A. Smith said, this is unacceptable. You might as well get the ball boy. You might as well get every other superstar in the league, because now Kevin Durant has a lot of superstars surrounding him again, and that makes him a villain just to take down LeBron James.
Well, I thought it was interesting because Blake Griffin was saying that the Detroit Pistons fans were complaining about his performance when he was with the Pistons. And now that he's with the Nets, they're saying, oh, it's not fair.
Well, you've seen his first 2 points as a Net. He made a dunk.
Yeah, and I thought that made a statement.
Yeah, and he hasn't dunked since December 2019.
Yeah, so that tells me that he wasn't giving his full perforence with the Pistons,
because
he was holding out.
They're a lost cause team, so there's no point giving your all to a team that won't even make the playoffs. It's useless.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to waste all your energy with that. Speaking of energy, there was a lot of energy that was made last week during the trade deadline. So what is our next topic, Matt? Are we going to talk about an NBA trade?
Now, I'd like to discuss with you guys with the various trades that just occurred. So, after I mention each trade, I want to hear both of your opinions. First, the Orlando Magic got Gary Harris and RJ Hampton, while the Denver Nuggets received Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark. What are your thoughts?
I think RJ Hampton is, as a rookie, he's average to below average. He hasn't proven much. Now let's talk about Gary Harris. He was really good as a rotation like a couple of years back, but since last season and this season, he's been playing terrible. I felt like he's been injured too much, that he hasn't had time to get into the chemistry much. So I think Nuggets receiving Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark is an upgrade, because Aaron Gordon is he should have been two-time slam dunk champion. No doubt, he's one of the best dunkers in the league, and he's also a decent scorer. He can average between 12 to 16 points per game, and that's very useful for Jokic. Doing all of those no-look passes to find open man, and Gordon will be there to receive it and just dunk the ball. Now, I think the Magic got the worst end of the trade here with Gary Harris and RJ Hampton. But, they're rebuilding, so it's not like it's for nothing, So.
Yes, I think out of those four players, none of them have star status except for Aaron Gordon. And so therefore, I think the Nuggets got the better end of this deal by receiving a star player.
Yeah. See, we both agree again.
Mm-hmm.
Me and this guy are friends for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the next trade? Come on, let's talk about it.
Second trade, the Miami Heat got Victor Oladipo, as the Houston Rockets received Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley. What are your thoughts?
I think Miami Heat got the better end of the deal here, because Oladipo is a two-time All-Star. Even though he's injury-prone, he will add more shooting, more defense for the Heat. And Avery Bradley, he's a good defender too, but Oladipo is a major upgrade than Bradley. And Olynyk, Heat already got rid of Myers Leonard. He was their tallest player. Now they got rid of their other tall guy, Kelly Olynyk. Now the tallest guy might be just Ben Adebayo at 6'9", 6'10". They're lacking in size, but they have better wing defenders. So I think Miami Heat got better in this trade, but Houston Rockets just upgraded in size.
So I think the Heat received the better talent by getting Oladipo. However, I don't think they did what's best for their team by getting rid of Olynyk, because he stretches the defense out by being big and being able to hit the three. Yeah.
But they added Oladipo as an all-star. He's an all-star. Now we have a lot of current and former all-stars in their team. They got Butler, Adebayo. We got former all-star and Finals MVP Iguodala, and they got Oladipo now. And they still got two of the youngest shooters in the NBA, Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. Now I'm telling you.
So the Heat pretty much gave up role players to receive a playmaker.
Yes.
In Oladipo. And
He's two-time All-Star.
It should be interesting to see how he plays with Butler.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about more trades, shall we?
So the third trade, the Dallas Mavericks got J.J. Redick and Nicolo Melli, while the New Orleans Pelicans received James Johnson and Wes Iwundu. What are your thoughts?
The thought is that the Pelicans just lost this trade because Wes Iwundu is, I don't know how to politely say things. I'm sorry, everyone watching, but he's completely straight up utter garbage. Nobody talks about him. Okay, he sucks. He just sucks. Okay, he's that one guy on your bench who's gonna be warming it up while everyone else plays. James Johnson, all he does is he's trying to fight everybody all the time. I've seen some clips of him. He's always trying to fight everybody. He's got a hot temper. He's not consistent. Now the Dallas Mavericks got a better end of the deal. J.J. Redick is he's going to go down one of the top shooters of all time, and the Mavericks just got better by adding him. Nicolo Melli, I know he's a good shooter as well. He's getting up there. We don't know much about him other than he can shoot when he gets the ball. He's also pretty tall, 6'9". You know, he can stretch the floor as well. But main factor, JJ Redick here. So.
Yeah, so without a doubt, the Mavericks got the better end of this deal just by hearing Redick's name. He's one of the rare shooters in the league, and at this point, with where the NBA is going, you need the three-point shot, and that makes Redick even more valuable than the other players.
Right. I agree with you. You agree with me?
Mm-hmm.
JJ Redick, he's the main good thing of this trade. So let's talk about more trades.
Yeah.
It's more exciting.
Next trade, the Los Angeles Clippers got Rajon Rondo as the Atlanta Hawks received Lou Williams.
I think Rondo is way past his prime. Although that's the case, Rondo has a better leadership than Williams. Rondo is a better defender than Lou Williams, better passer, better IQ. But the thing is, Lou Williams is a better scorer, better shooter, better bench, better six-man off the bench. Rondo cannot play a six-man off the bench pretty well. I mean, we saw that with the Lakers. Yeah, he could do some damage a little bit, but Lou Williams, you know, he's more important than Rajon Rondo at this point in their careers.
I thought this trade was very interesting because you have two of the older guys in the league being traded for each other, and it's good to see Lou Williams head back to his hometown, Atlanta. And I actually think that receiving Rondo is more valuable because I think his IQ is higher than most players, and this will definitely help his teammates and prepare them for the playoffs. So therefore, I think having Rondo is the better end of the deal.
Right. I agree with that, just by a slight margin. Because like I said, Lou Williams is important, but Rondo is a multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time champion, veteran experience, all those things.
And it's not taking anything away from Lou Williams either, because I'm a big fan of Williams.
Yes,
I think he's very clutch, and he's still very explosive at his age and able to penetrate the defense and just make clutch buckets.
Yeah.
But I'll go for IQ over
IQ.
talent.
Yeah, IQ over talent.
I'll go with Rondo.
At least Lou Williams can go back to Atlanta in his hometown, go to a lot of the strip clubs where he was caught going to a lot of them during the NBA bubble last season.
It was only for wings, though.
For wings. All right, speaking of wings, what's next?
So the Denver Nuggets got JaVale McGee as the Cleveland Cavaliers receive Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 future second-round picks. What are your thoughts?
My thought is that Denver Nuggets got another good deal in that. Not just Aaron Gordon deal, but the JaVale McGee deal. Hartenstein, he's just tall, but he is one of the disgrace of German basketball, just like Max and Cleveland. They're complete inconsistent and they don't produce much, especially Hartenstein. This guy, every time I see this game, I cringe because this guy moves so slow. He likes to shoot a lot. He doesn't play any defense. And the Cavaliers, they're rebuilding, so I guess they got something good with a future second-round picks. Now with Hartenstein, they got already a lot of big men: Jared Allen, Kevin Love still, Larry Nance. That's a lot. So I'm looking to see them cutting Hartenstein soon. But McGee, he has championship experience with the Warriors and the Lakers, and he can help, with the center position, take the stress off Jokic.
So with a player like McGee, do you think he's reached his potential given his height and physique?
Yeah, he's been in the league for a decade now. But he's a good defender. He's very lanky. And if he gets put in the starting lineup, he can stop Anthony Davis or Gobert or anyone they face in the playoffs.
Or at least wear them out.
Yeah, wear them out. So imagine McGee and Jokic starting together. That will take the stress off Jokic getting rebounds. Jokic can just focus on playmaking and shooting.
That is a really good combination of big men.
Yeah,
and
ball too.
I agree with you. I think the Nuggets made a good move right here.
Yeah. Let's talk about the next trade.
The Portland Blazers got Norman Powell as the Toronto Raptors received Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. What are your thoughts?
I think Rodney Hood. He came on a lot of injuries, so I don't know. I'm just not a fan of him anymore. He used to be consistent. Now he's not that consistent. Gary Trent Jr. He's also inconsistent. He can have some good nights, but he's young. He can still improve in a team where they will use him more. Because there's too many guards in the Blazers right now. But the fact that Norman Powell is having a career year this year in scoring, and he's an excellent defender. Now the Blazers don't have to worry about perimeter defense, even though Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum just focus mostly on offense. Now they have Norman Powell coming off the bench. You can defend your point guard, your shooting guard, and he can also produce 15 to 20 points per game on top of that.
Yeah, Powell's a very good straight shooter. However, I think you're getting more out of Gary Trent Jr. and who's the other player?
Rodney Hood.
And Rodney Hood. I think those two players are ballers.
But Rodney Hood has been injured so many times. So
yeah, so it's a matter of who stays healthy.
Yeah.
But I think as a commodity-wise, going with Trent Jr. and Hood is getting the better end of that deal.
Yeah, you're right. But Powell just had better numbers this season, though. Because I guess he gets more playing time. That's why. So what is the next
topic? The next topic is Chicago Bulls got Nikola Vucevic as the Orlando Magic received Wendell Carter Jr. and Otto Porter Jr. What are your thoughts?
So this is by far the best trade out of the whole NBA trade deadline this season, because Vucevic is a two-time All-Star. He's a rebounding machine. He's a scoring machine. He can score from the three-point line. He can score inside, and he's clutch. He has size, and he doesn't attract much attention. So to pair him up with Zach LaVine, I think the Bulls might get deeper in this playoffs. The Magic just got Wendell Carter Jr. He's an excellent center. He's an up-and-coming rising center. Otto Porter Jr. He's a bust. The guy gets a lot of contract money, but doesn't produce much. It's good for the Bulls to get rid of Porter's huge contract.
Well, I just don't think Porter Jr. has found the right situation for him yet. I think he has a lot of potential. I wouldn't necessarily call him a bust just yet. I think you'd have to give him a little more time. But I think the Bulls made the better move here by getting Vucevic. And I think I think the Bulls will make the playoffs because of this trade.
Yeah. But Porter Jr. has been in the league for how many years now? And he's the third pick. And he's supposed to be the third star alongside Wall and Beal, but I guess injuries ruined him as well. But the contract, though, his contract money is what triggers me.
So you think he's getting overpaid?
Overpaid, yeah, like Rudy Gobert overpaid. Speaking of overpaid, let's talk about the last or whatever trade we have got next.
Yeah, the Miami Heat got Trevor Ariza as the Oklahoma City Thunder received Meyers Leonard. What are your thoughts?
So I think this trade is interesting because the Heat just wanted to trade Leonard because of his anti-Semitic remarks that he made, just to get rid of him. And funny enough, the Thunder got rid of Leonard as soon as they got him, because the Miami Heat owner, he's Jewish, so me, if somebody makes a racist comment about my race or something, and an employee of mine did that, I'll be like, yo, you gotta go. Like, you can't be around here. Myers Leonard was, I guess you can say he's a huge loss for the Heat in terms of size, but in terms of talent, the guy doesn't produce much, so.
Yeah, I pretty much think this trade was meaningless. I don't think, it will have no effect on either team, pretty much. I don't think Ariza is going to bring much to it.
Well, Ariza was a good defender back in the day.
Yeah, but how old is he now? I mean, he's aging.
Yeah.
And he's a role player at best.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he won. I mean, he won a championship with the Lakers back in. But yeah, there was like over a decade ago.
But like you said, this trade was all about getting rid of Leonard.
Yeah,
you know?
getting rid of Leonard. It's all about just Leonard, getting rid of him, sending him up where to go.
He's a lot of baggage.
Yeah, a lot of baggage to carry, especially with an issue he made. All right, Matt, you got anything for us?
Yes, so the last one is, so what do you guys think of the best deal out of all these trades?
I think the best deal out of all these trades was the Vucevic trade because, you know, he is a major upgrade than Wendell Carter Jr. He can score, he can shoot from anywhere, he can score from anywhere. And not to mention, he's an extremely rebounding machine, as I mentioned earlier. Zach LaVine likes to shoot a lot of jump shots, and he also misses a lot of them. Imagine him missing a lot of them, and Vucevic just, you know, getting all those offensive rebounds and kicking them back out to LaVine. Oh, that's going to be pretty to watch.
I think the team that made the most interesting moves and perhaps the wiser moves was the Denver Nuggets. You know, I think receiving McGee and Gordon,
Right.
big attributes for the team, and I thought they were very wise moves.
Yeah, I like that. That's like my second. That's my second best trade here because Gordon has been consistent this season, but we know what he's capable of. Flashy dunks. He can cut very well. All the backdoor cuts. Jokic just gonna like find him open all the time and just throw it back.
And he helps sell tickets too.
Yeah.
Gordon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I agree with you. All right.
All right, and that's this week's episode of the NBA Sideline, brought to you by our sponsor, Marie Buckley, Nevada's top real estate agent. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Spotify and iHeartRadio, and watch the full episode on our NBA Sideline YouTube channel. Be sure to add us on Instagram at NBA Sideline Official to join our conversation. And if you'd like to reach out to us to discuss more topics, make sure to email nbasideline@gmail.com. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.
Be
Peace
well.
out.